The other day, I was talking to a guy and I said, you know, Munich is a really great city.
Yeah, I agree, totally.
He didn't. You know what he said to me?
No. Oh, just like that? He said no?
Very loud.
Whew! Well, and this is exactly the reason why we've made this clip for you, so that you don't run into these kind of situations, so that you don't make these mistakes. Because to actually say no is really rude. So we've made 2 clips for you. Clip 1 is all about intercultural differences. And in clip 2, we're looking at 10 phrases from our ebook. And
you mean, hang on, you mean our free ebook?
Yeah, our free ebook. We're looking at 10 phrases from our ebook. And these 10 phrases that we're looking at, they're going to help you to better communicate, to speak better, and possibly even to negotiate better.
I totally agree.
Okay, then let's dive in. This is LbTV with videos for you.
If you're new to the channel, I'm David.
And I'm Barbara, and this channel is all about keeping English short and simple.
I absolutely agree.
Very good. So, coming back to the outset of our conversation, you know, the guy that just kind of shouted no into your face.
Yep.
I totally understand how you felt, because this has happened to me a couple of times, and it's a situation that we native speakers find ourselves in once in a while, when a German just absolutely tells the truth and says no. But he doesn't just say no, I don't agree. He just says no. And it's like a slap in the face, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so
it's kind of, it feels a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Again, the person doesn't mean it that way, but it feels like that for us because we're not used to it. I come from Australia, which I don't know if we've spoken about that, but we're much more indirect with saying no, and if we agree, we're normally quite enthusiastic about it.
Right, right.
So sometimes there's a lack of enthusiasm from the German, and with the no, it's a little bit too strong.
Right. So in one of the coachings I was conducting last week, I actually had exactly this situation, and a couple of the Germans in my class said, yeah, but we're just telling the truth. We're just saying that, no, we don't agree. And the thing is, it's a bit strong. So here's our recommendation to you guys out there. Try to not just throw a no at somebody. Try to use phrases like, no, I don't fully agree, or if you really want to say no, okay, but otherwise you can also leave the no away and just disagree. So this could be, I kind of disagree, or I don't fully agree, but we'll be looking into these phrases in clip 2, in part 2 of our clip, right?
That's right.
So, another topic that I wanted to bring up is, how do you feel when you have these kind of situations?
Yeah, it makes
and what does it do to you?
I feel uncomfortable, and I feel a little bit threatened.
Right.
And also the conversation kind of stops. So then I'd think, what do I say now?
Right.
How do I keep the conversation moving?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Again, I fully understand what you're saying, and I'm on the same page. It makes you feel uncomfortable. And there's another point I'd like to just, throw right out there to you guys. I taught an I taught an intercultural training about 2-3 years ago, and I had people from the UK, people from Ireland, people from France, people from Switzerland and Germany in this training.
Sounds interesting.
And it was a lot of fun. It was up in the mountains. We were locked in a little hut for 3 days, and it was pretty awesome actually. But what I wanted to say is everybody felt like we don't have any problems. So I addressed the group and I said, well, what do you feel like when somebody writes you an email? Or how do you feel when somebody says no to you on the phone? And it was amazing because nobody actually really expected that they didn't feel comfortable about it. The outcome was people really realized, oh wow, we need to talk about this, because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be arrogant. I'm not trying to be arrogant at all. And this is what happened. A lot of people said, oh, you Germans, you're always so arrogant.
And so direct.
Yeah, and so direct. And it's a cultural thing. So a piece of advice that we would like to give you is communicate. If you have groups that are international, try to find out what's normal for us, how do we communicate, and what do we mean when we say what we say. And with doing this, you can avoid a lot of issues.
Definitely. I completely agree.
So you may ask yourself, what does all this have to do with agreeing and disagreeing?
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with it, because remember the guy I spoke about at the beginning, he's trying to disagree with me, but he does it in such a strong way that I misinterpret it. And the other way can happen if somebody, especially with Germans that I speak to, when they agree with me, it's a little bit too, let's say, not enthusiastic enough, a little bit too soft.
So you feel like you're not getting the kind of feedback that you would expect.
Yep.
Like I've had that situation where I asked somebody, oh wow, why are you so unhappy about this? And the person says, I'm not unhappy. I think it's totally cool. It's like, oh, okay, well, totally cool sounds different to me.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the situation. So a lot of people say we Americans, we're so superficial, right? But it's our way of doing things. We think things are great or awesome or we love things. And this is the way we express things. Not everybody, not all of us. But it kind of belongs to, well, to our culture to do it that way, and others think like, oh, back off, that's way too much.
Yeah.
Then you go to Brazil and people are all over the place, and you just think, oh, no, it's a bit too much. So what are we saying? We're saying try to understand the other culture, try to understand what their way of saying yes or no is, and if you can better understand this, then your communication will definitely become better.
I completely agree.
Well, I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Okay, so just to show you what we mean, we're going to do a little quiz, like a little game, and I'm going to say what the native speaker says, right? And your job,
I'm going to tell you what our students, or a lot of our students, usually think a native speaker is saying.
And then I will tell you what I really mean. Okay.
And the examples that we're talking about actually really happened, so they're not just made up.
Okay, so the first example is your proposal is very brave.
He thinks I'm courageous.
No, not exactly. I think you're crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, that's just how it goes. The second example is with the greatest respect.
He respects me.
No, I think you're an idiot.
Oh, not so cool.
No, a little bit different. Right?
But actually happens quite a lot.
My next example, a very popular one is, look, I hear what you say.
Ah, that's another way of seeing it.
Yeah.
You're listening. You
Well,
get what I'm saying,
I'm
right?
listening, but I just don't agree with what you're saying, and I don't think we should talk about it any longer.
So you're disagreeing.
Absolutely, very strongly.
Here's a nice example, actually, of someone is disagreeing and you think they're agreeing. In this case, it's not even so much that you're strong about something like the no example we had, but actually we're saying something and we mean the opposite.
Yeah.
And this happens quite a lot in English, and a lot of our Germans say, well, why don't you just straight out say what you think? Well, because our culture is different.
Yep, different cultures.
So come on, just one more.
All right, the last one is, oh, very interesting.
So you think it's interesting. You think it's good.
No.
No.
I think you know what it means.
Yeah, I know what it means. It means
boring.
So actually the exact opposite. If someone says, oh, that's interesting, they're not really interested and they don't really think it's good. So you see, a lot of these things can mean the opposite. So again, just to sum it up, communicate. Find out what the culture looks like. What do they do? How do they mean it? And once you figure this out, your communication is going to be much better. So go for it and see you around. Bye.
Bye.
And don't forget to subscribe to us.
And hit the bell so that you don't miss any of our new videos.
Absolutely.